All right, welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP ABAP on HANA come S4 HANA technical training with me Anubhav. In our last episode, we talked about the concept of working with our new ABAP syntax. We've seen the improvement in ABAP language. Along with that, the concepts of improving the SQL so that we can achieve a better code to data paradigm. In our today's session, we are going to start our next topic regarding the data migration, or basically what it means for your company when your company move to a Oracle or a non HANA to HANA database. Also, we will discuss about S4 HANA introduction, what actually S4 HANA is all about, and how S4 HANA is different from your traditional ERP, which is your ECC. Very interesting session today. So let's get started. Now, before I start, during our training, I will be utilizing multiple database tables, and also I will be utilizing different objects from the standard. And in order to have a good idea about our case studies and scenario, we need to know our data model. So SAP is providing a real-time data model with which we can utilize this data model for our learning, training, and development purpose. So first we will discuss this data model which I will be using during the course, because later on our case studies will be built on this data model. The good news is this data model is present in every SAP system. So even you are using your company SAP system for this course, you can utilize this data model. In the past, we used to use flight data model when we study ABAP training. But nowadays, SAP would want us to learn something of real time, which resembles to the real business. Hence, SAP introduced this new data model called EPM data model. So let's talk about EPM data model, which I will be using during some of the case studies in our session. So EPM stands for Enterprise Procurement Model. It is inspired from real time, just like any one of you have ever done some buying or selling in your life. It is inspired from that. Now, this EPM data model is targeting a demo company called ITEIO. It's a demo company. Assume this is a company with the name ITEIO, and it is dealing in electronic goods and products. Just like think about Amazon. So what is Amazon's business? Amazon doesn't produce laptop by themselves. Rather, they have a e-commerce website where a lot of customers comes and buy products. However, they also onboard suppliers who sell on Amazon. So that is the business model Amazon works. Similarly, let's assume our company ITEIO, which is in the business of selling electronic goods and products. So ITEIO is a company like Amazon, and on this company on boards is suppliers who come and register themselves as a supplier of products and list their listings. Then on the other side, we have customers who will come and buy these products actually. So a customer will go to Amazon website, browse the product, and order the products. Now, whenever a customer is coming to your business like ITEIO and requesting you to basically, requesting from you to buy something, that's basically considered as a sales order. So, so what is a sales order? You might have gone to grocery store to buy groceries on this weekend. So, what is the list of grocery item which you carrying with you? It's a sales order for the grocery store. So, a sales order is basically a interest of purchasing products from the company. Now, sales order contains sales order header, which contains order number, who is the buyer of the sales order, what's the location, storage location, then we have sales organization and all that stuff, basic header data. Now, each sales order also contains sales order items. Now, there are multiple items inside a sales order typically. Suppose you are going to a grocery store and purchasing some items, or for example, going to Amazon and you order 3 laptops, 2 hard disks, and 1 iPhone. Yes. So this is the sales order items. You can see in this sales order, we have three items. So multiple products are ordered through a order. Now, what the company does, company will check if the items requested by the user or the customer are in the stock or not. And if the stock has the item, then certainly the company will release these items to the customer. And if the items are not in stocks, they will then go to their supplier to fulfill this order for supplying the products. So when you go to the supplier ultimately, so a supplier will supply these products on what basis? So for this, they will create a purchase order. So when Amazon goes to their supplier, they will create a purchase order to their supplier. And similarly, we have purchase order item. Yes. So they will buy in the bulk, let's say 30 laptops, 200 hard disk, 1000 iPhones. So this is a purchase order which it makes to the supplier. Supplier will supply these products, put it in the Amazon's warehouse, and once the products are available, they will be shipped to the customer. Now imagine the customer have given this order. At the moment in our stock, we only have one laptop and one hard disk. Yeah, and one iPhone. So Amazon will not ask you to wait because risk of losing a customer is very big. If a customer do not get the delivery on time, the customer will cancel the order and they may go to other e-commerce websites. So what Amazon does in this case, they will initiate a partial delivery. So they will send you one laptop, one hard disk and one iPhone, but they will still keep the order open with the two laptop and one hard disk because that time they don't have in the stock. So whenever Amazon is shipping the actual products to you, they are invoicing you. So what you get is a invoice. So invoice have an invoice header and an invoice item. So at the time of first delivery, they only had one laptop, one hard disk, and one iPhone. So they will bill you only for this. You might have seen these orders reaching to your doorstep. The delivery boy comes and you see this brown color carton box. On top of the brown color carton box is affixed a invoice. Next time you receive a delivery, notice that there is a white color or a pink color slip which is attached to the carton box, which is your invoice. So a customer will pay. If it's a cash on delivery, customer will pay based on the invoice, right? So at any given point of time, the invoice items are less than or equal to order items. Yes. So this is typically our business model of real time, how business works. Yes. Easy. Now, in this, we also have data like we have, of course, customers and suppliers. These are called business partners. So with whom the company is doing business, they are business partners, and business partner will have address data also, and companies of course selling products, so we will have also the products data. This is our master data. So coming to master data, the data which does not change very often is a master data like business partner and products, and data which frequently change or getting updated is the transaction data, which includes sales order, purchase order, and invoices. So all this data is stored in SAP table, and together all these tables are called EPM data model. Yes, EPM data model. All these tables are called EPM data model. The good news is these tables are available in our SAP system, all of your SAP systems, my training system as well. So we can utilize this data model for our training. Yes, which resembles with the real time. So it's a demo data model for the purpose of learning, training, testing, yes, creating scenarios and demos. So that is the beauty. So you can be rest assured that if you do mistakes, then you will not lose anything productive of your company. Yes. So even though you do mistakes with this data model, by mistake you deleted data or did something wrong, it will not cost anything for your company. So that is the benefit you will have while using this data model, and of course resembles with real time sales and distribution data model. sales, distribution, and procurement data model, because that's how buying, selling happens in any company. Now, it contains over 72 tables and 100 plus function modules for development. So as a developer, you can use them. Yes, but you don't need to learn all of it. You would just need to learn some of the important database tables, which I will give it to you, which you can use them for our training and learning purpose. So let me go ahead and show you now our most important tables I will be using from EPM model tables, which I will be using in this training. So first is SNWD PD, SNWD, let me say BPA, AD, SNWD PD, SNWD texts, SNWD SO, SNWD SOI, SNWD SOI invoice header, SNWD SO invoice item. So you can notice all the table of EPM starts with SNWD start. That's a naming convention they are using. But the first table is called business partner table, which contains the all the customer and supplier data. So I'll switch over back to system, press Ctrl Shift A to show you the table SNWD BP. These tables are also present in your company system. If you are not using my training system, they are also there. Yeah. So here is the table F8. You can see the data, the customer data and supplier data. So you see business partner role. If it is 01, it's a customer. If it is 02, it's a supplier. Yeah. So that is the first table where you see companies, different companies with whom we are doing the business. Our company is doing business. So it is this typical customer table and supplier table. Now all these tables, they follow GUID based table design. This is the GUID. It's a random number. It's a 32 character random number that will act like a primary key of these tables. So you see here the key. Now if you're unable to digest and understand this structure of the table, you can also right click and say open with SAP GUI, so that you will get the classic GUI view of the table. So this is the node key, which is the key for the table. It's a raw 16, which means it's a 32 character random number, which is made as a primary key. Now, why SAP choosing this random number as a primary key? Why not anything else or a combination of anything else? So this type of database design is called GUID based table design. Yeah, GUID based table design. Now it's a industry best practice these days. And if you want to go depth to the why of why SAP design like this, you can just go and check one of my video. There is a video on YouTube on my channel, which is called Simplified Database Design with ABAP on HANA. So check this particular video on YouTube. It will actually give you a very good idea of why SAP choose node key as a primary key. What is this database design and how this database design is used by SAP. So just in case you are interested to know why SAP prefer to choose GUID based primary keys, check this video. Yeah, it's a very good knowledge in case you're willing to become an architect in the future. You have to not just code, but you have to design the software. So how should you design a software with GUID based primary key and what are the benefits you get? So that is something covered in this video. Very good video. It's an extra learning. Somebody would want to go to that extra leg. Somebody would want to put that extra effort. It's for you. Okay. So coming to business partner, that's our first table I showed you. Then we have the address table. So this is business partner addresses, where you contain the address of business partner like country, city, street, yes, all that information. So let me open up that table. So Control Shift A, address table, and just switch over back. This is the address data. Now, how do I know this address belongs to which company? Yeah, which business partner? So what you got to do is go back to the business partner table and you see this address GUID. Pick up the address GUID from here copy, and come back to the address table, add a filter on node key and paste it here. And voila, this is the one. So the particular customer I picked up, that particular customer's address is this. So all the foreign key relationships are also based on these GUIDs. Yeah, these GUIDs are the connections between these primary keys and foreign keys between these tables. Yeah. So this is the first relationship I showed you between address and business partner. Okay. So next is product table. This contains all the product master data. And then we have a text table, very good example, this one. This is product text in multiple languages. So let me hit the product table. Product table. It contains so many products, of course. So many of them are there. Now I want to know, let's say this product, HT1031. What is this? What is this product all about? Yeah. So I don't see the name of the product here, which is fine. What I will do is I'll go to this column called name GUID or description GUID, anyone you can take, and just copy this GUID, copy this GUID, name GUID. And I'll go back to the next table, which is a text table. Now, what is a text table in SAP? This concept I studied in 1995 when I started learning ABAP. So in ABAP, a text table contains the language specific descriptions of the data. Yes. So if you want to translate your data in multiple languages, because SAP solutions are used across globe in different countries where different languages are being spoken and read. So a text table is a perfect example to translate your data. It contains the key, same key as the main table, plus a language field where you can get the description or the texts in a different language. So that's this text table. So I go back, I copy this name GUID or description GUID, up to you. I can copy the name GUID, and then I can come back to this next table, text table, double click and run, and here add a filter on parent key. Yeah, parent key. So I pass that key, enter, and you see this table contain English and I guess Chinese or Japanese, I don't know. Yeah, so it contains English and Japanese language text for that same product. Yeah, it's a flat basic as the name of the product. So this way you will know the name of the product from another text table. So this data model is very good to resemble from real time, because in real time also in your company you will exactly have same tables like Mara, Marcy, Mardi, Mad Doca, like that. So it resembles very much like a real time, and almost we are learning with risk free. So tomorrow when you do this practice in your company, then nobody will question you that you disrupted our data or you disrupted something, because all these tables are demo data tables. And next is sales order table. Let's grab that. I'm just going to close the text table and sales order table. This is the sales order table, run it. And now this is the sales order table. Again, GUID based primary key with order ID. And I want to know who bought this sales order. So we have the buyer GUID. Wow, look at that. So who's the buyer of this sales order? We can actually pick that up. Any buyer, for any sales order. And then we can just take this and pass it to the BPA table to see who is this buyer. Yeah, who bought this sales order. So I just grab it, copy, come back to BPA. This is very interesting. It's kind of a puzzle cracking. It's an easy puzzle to crack. And I pass it over here and voila. So it's Paranorma Studios. That's the customer. Yeah, that's the customer who bought that particular sales order. So this is how you got to know for this sales order, these are the customers. And now you can also pick up the node key of a sales order, and you can go to item table, sales order item table, to see, yeah, who is the, or how many items are there for this order. So I pass the parent key, and now these are the items in the sales order. Wow, just like your VBAC and VBAP in real time in SAP, you have this. Now this data model is kind of very uniform data model, which you can resemble with any kind of SAP solutions. So once you understand, all of you understand this model, makes it very easy. And you see the good news again, another complexity, we have amounts in different currencies. Yeah. So you will also learn a use case where you will learn currency conversion using S4 HANA. So that will be also interesting use case I will demonstrate to you in our course, because our data is in multiple currencies. So all kinds of text table is there, combination of currencies are there. We have heterogeneous data of different kind, which gives you kind of a feeling of a real time, and very much what you can do also in your company. All right. So that is the sales order table, header table, sales order header, and sales order item. Of course, in the item table, you find product GUID, which resembles with the product table's primary key to find which product was sold in the item. And similarly, we have invoice header and invoice item table. Yes. So these are the only tables you will be using in our training, though there are 72 plus tables in data model, but we will be using these many tables in our training. And now there is an exercise for all of you. Design a ER diagram representing these tables and their primary key, foreign key relationships. That's the requirement for all of you. You need to design a ER diagram. What is the ER diagram? As you all know, during college days, you must have done many ER diagrams. Yes. So you represent a table as a block like this. Let's say SNWD underscore BPA table. One second, my pen is not good. Just give me 1 second. I have to switch to PPT pen. Yeah. So you will design something like this. You will have SNWD underscore BPA, and then you will put node key. Yeah. This is the primary key, and it connects with our SNWD sales order table. And this also have a node key, which is the primary key of the table, but it also have the buyer GUID. And this is what I showed you few minutes ago, that it connects with the foreign key of the table. So you will just show like this, and like this. So this is kind of a ER diagram, and one customer can have many sales orders, of course, one to many. So this is a data model diagram you need to create. You can use plain pen and paper, take a photo from your phone, send it to me. You can also use tools like PPT. You can also go to internet, and what I personally do when I do professional designs in my company, I use a very popular online tool, and it's called Creately. Yeah. So I use this tool very often because I worked as a associate architect and as a solution architect for many companies. And for some companies, I do very professional work, and I use this kind of this kind of a tool. So what this tool does, it's give you free ability to create free diagrams. You can build brainstorm diagrams, visualization diagrams, planning structures, meeting structures, and also software design diagrams, which include system design, system diagrams, class diagram, sequence diagram, DB designs. So there are variety of documents, and you can create a free account here, and they will allow you to create two two free diagrams, no charge, it's free. Of course, more than two, if you try to create, they'll charge you, but it's a good tool to get started, and you can explore templates. I have a paid subscription of this. You don't need to buy. Don't buy right now. Yes, just take a free option of building diagrams, and you can use this tool to create the DB design also. Yes. So you can actually use class diagram, sequence diagram, user stories, lot of these diagrams. As a solution architect, if you willing to become and grow in technical area, you should know how to design. Yes. Because if you know the design, then your development will never go wrong. Companies like SAP Labs, they hire developers who can design. And in SAP Labs, we spend 50 to 60% time in SAP Labs on design. and only 40% time for rest of the work like development, coding and all that. So if your design is right, then naturally you are going to get the benefits. But if your design itself is wrong, then you will have just rework. You might have noticed this, that if you don't have clarity on a requirement, you develop and then you rework, and the final solution also gets rejected because the management says this is not what was expected. So focus on the design. Yes, so design is very important. So this is a requirement. It's a request from my side. It's a case, and the best diagram will be presented in the class. How do you submit your nominations? You will have around 16 hours from now to mail your solution design diagram to my personal mail id. This is my personal mail id. You can send it to me once you are through with it. Yeah, so that is what you guys have to try, but it should be very clean. It should not be like what I did. I just gave you an example, but it should be clean. So you have to go through the tables, and then you need to do that. Now, one important thing, Anubhav, my company system have these tables, but like your training system, I don't have data in these tables. So what to do? How do you get the data in these tables? Because I'm using my company system for this training, as some of you may be using. You do not using our training system. So there is a T code in SAP called SEPM underscore DG. DG stands for data generator. Yeah, data generator. This T code you can run in your company system. Now warning, do not run this in our Anubhav training system, because we have done something extra for you which you will not know now. But don't run this in our training system. We have made arrangements for you already of the data. Yes, but those who are using their company system, this is the T code you can run. You can go back to your company, control 6, go to this T code SEPM underscore DG, and you can say recreate. You can say 2000 purchase orders and 2000 sales orders. Wow. Woohoo! And you execute this. And guess what? Magic will happen. And all these tables which I'm showing you today, they will automatically get the data created for you. So you will not break your head with your basis people to get the data in these tables. You can yourself generate, and nobody will complain and nobody will be bothered. Yes, because these are all demo tables for our learning, training, demonstration, and use case and case study perspective. So it will never hamper anything in your company. So you can safely use these tables and this data generator to generate test data in these tables. Yeah. So that makes more sense for me, because in that case you will nobody will complain to your manager, and no basis people will also you know cause issue for you. So that is the T code you can run if you are using your company system. Yes, if you are using our training system, you are already a subscriber of Anubhav training system, don't do that. We have already done that for you. You don't have to do that. Yeah, so that is about the EPM data model. Any question on EPM data model, please ask. If not, we can move on to the next part of this session, which is our SAP HANA migration process. Easy? Okay. So everybody understood the data model? Please give it a try and send me your nominations with a diagram. That's what I would want. Now, moving on, let's start with migration process. So migration to HANA. So now let's understand, as the training started, and we also discussed this earlier, that when you are joining a company as a consultant, as a S4 or as a HANA, ABAP on HANA consultant, one common question will be asked to you. The question will be, my company is implementing HANA and replacing Oracle. My manager want to know what will happen to my ABAP code. after we go to HANA database, will my ABAP code work or not? That's the question. It will be asked to you. Yes, that's a question you should answer. So they will not ask you, can you migrate data? Because that's not your job. Migration of data from Oracle to HANA is the job of database administrator. Yes, it's not our job. So this is the first question. The second question they will ask you, if my company implementing S4 HANA and I've been hired for this project and the implementation is currently going on, what is the impact of this S4 HANA, yeah, going to S4 HANA on my ABAP code? Yes, on my ABAP code. Do I need to change my ABAP code? Will it work out of the box? What will work and what will not work? So these are the two important questions we need to answer from our journey. Yeah. So now let me show you our journey or a company's journey to adopt HANA, how a company typically can adopt HANA. So for simplicity, I'm not writing presentation layer here. So first of all, I'm writing the application layer over here, and I'm writing the database layer, the database layer. Assume right now your company is using Oracle and you are using ECC. So this is the first step your company is on right now. Now, if your company decides to implement HANA, yes. So what could be one approach? One approach could be that your company go ahead and just change the database from Oracle to HANA. So your solution or your ERP is still ECC. Your ERP product is not changing. It is still ECC. It is still Maruti 800, the old car. Yeah. But you change the database. So in this case, I'll change the color. So your company went on live on HANA. Now let's call this journey. So I will call this milestone as A. Yes. I call the second milestone as B, where your company decides to just migrate data to HANA. They use HANA database. And then your company also plan to go to, ultimately, every company has to do that, to S4 HANA. So your solution has changed to S4 HANA. So you sell your Maruti 800 and you buy Swift, the latest model of the car. Yeah, latest model of the car. So this is what has happened in our company. Now let's call the third milestone as C. Yes. So some companies are currently migrating A to B. Some companies are going B to C, and some companies are going directly A to C also. So there are some companies in the market which are going A to B right now. There are some companies which are going A to C, and there are some companies which are going A to C directly. And there are some companies who have already done this. They have already gone to C in the market. Yeah. So it depends on company to company, project to project. But the good news is the knowledge which you gain in this training, it will help you in all the options. So what is A to B? A to B is your company just changing database. They're simply changing database. And now they are asking you, what is the impact on my ABAP code? Because your ABAP code is written here. Over the years, hundreds and hundreds of developers who joined your company, who left the company, who rejoined, left, rejoined, left. Hundreds of developers worked on multiple projects across the globe, and they built the ABAP code. They built the ABAP logic. They built the reports, programs, includes, classes, interfaces. Yes, it's there. This is your asset which you accumulated over the years by paying millions and millions and millions of dollars of salary to these ABAP consultants. So certainly your company want to protect these assets, right? So the major question they will ask, what will happen if we go to HANA? Will my ABAP code work? What if we go to S4 HANA? In that case, your application layer is also changing. As I demonstrated earlier, they've changed the data model. Yes. So what it means to go A to B and B to C or A to C. Now, I wanted to quickly do a check in the audience. How many of you just say yes or no? Yeah. How many of you going, if you are, then you just say yes. How many of you know that your company is going A to B? How many of these participants here today going A to B? Just say yes in the chat window. You know and you are aware that your company going A to B. How many of you are there? Just
Yes.
say yes.
Yes.
No, in the chat. In the chat you have to say. So only one, two, okay. A to B. You are sure that is you're going A to B. Okay. Okay. Three of you. All right. Very good. How many of you know that your company going B to C or A to C? Yeah. A to C or B to C. How many of you? So three of them were there on A to B, and now you're saying A to C. Okay. Four, five, six. Rest all. What about rest all? They don't know what is happening in your company. Okay. Most of you are from this case. B to C or A to C. Very good. I'm happy. How many of your company is already on C? Already on C. So one, two, three, four. Okay. Five already on C. Very good. Six. Okay. Six of you. So I have a mixed audience in the class where you have some people going A to B, some going B to C, A to C. Some are already on C. But I see major audience is B to C. Yeah. Major of you, many of you are B to C or A to C. This is the major audience as of now I see in the class today, which is interesting, quite interesting that this is our major use case, which all of you want to understand. And certainly this training will help you. So let's first understand A to B, though it's a less audience, but still as a trainer, it's my duty to cover this topic. What happens when your company go Oracle to HANA or any database to HANA? What it means for you as a ABAP developer. Now, if your manager asks you this question that we are migrating to HANA DB, will your ABAP code work or not? What will be your answer? You cannot simply say, yes, yes, manager, it will work. You cannot. You have to have evidence and proof you are a developer. So you have to talk in technical language. So let's understand what will work and what will not. So understand the bottom line first. What is the bottom line? So A to B, I'm telling about going to HANA DB alone. Yes. So they still have ECC, but just migrating database to HANA. Now understand one bottom line. This is just like any database migration which were done in past also in your company. Okay. It is simply like any database migration which were done in the past in your company. It's just like that. Okay. So it is simply like that. So the impact is very little on your ABAP code. But there is the impact. So let's understand what will not work. Yes. If your company is going from A to B. So there is an impact certainly on your custom code which you had built. See guys, standard code is not our duty. The impact only is with the custom code. So if your company had built custom code, then impact is always on the custom code. Yes, it is not on the standard SAP code. There's no impact on the standard SAP code. All the impact is on the custom code actually. So what is the impact on our custom code? So the first impact is if you have any native SQL statements, it will not work and it will dump. Now, what is a native SQL statement? I want to take you a little bit to the basics of SAP, which I studied in 1990s when I started my journey with SAP. Native SQL and Open SQL. So in SAP, what is the main benefit of three-tier architecture? That all the layers are loosely coupled. So you have application layer and you have database layer. The best part of SAP is it works for any database, Oracle, MaxDB, DB2, DB6, yes, Sybase database, any kind of database, it can work. Now the beauty is when you as a developer write any ABAP code in SAP, you write lot of SQL. And today you are, let's say, using Oracle database. Tomorrow you disconnect from Oracle and let's say you connect MySQL. It will still work. Your ABAP code will still work without touching the code. Why? Why? Because it will still work. But in general, if you look, Oracle SQL code is slightly different. Yes, it's not equal to the MySQL SQL code. Their SQL codes are little different. In Oracle, you say select column 1, comma, column 2. But in MySQL, you say select table name, column 1, comma, or space, table dot column 2. You have to give the table name and you give a space. But in Oracle, you give comma. The SQL is different. How come the SQL you've written in ABAP code will work for any database? How? Why you don't have to change all your 10,000 SQL statements again and again if you change your database? Why? The secret is hidden inside ABAP. So how ABAP works is it works on OpenSQL. You always write OpenSQL as a developer. Maybe you have no or not, you always use OpenSQL syntax. Now what SAP does, they have something called a engine, ABAP engine, and this is called ABAP SQL processor engine. Yes, ABAP SQL processor engine. It works as a database abstraction layer. What does it mean? Its main duty is to convert this OpenSQL to database specific statements, and this is called native SQL. A SQL statement pertaining to specific database like this or this. So what ABAP does, it has this database processor or database abstraction layer which understand the OpenSQL, and it will convert your ABAP SQL statements to native SQL which database can understand. This is what SAP does behind the scene. That's why they have three-tier architecture. You can connect any database anytime. You can disconnect and connect another database. So you can plug and play. Plug and play. That's the benefit of the three-tier architecture. And it's all possible due to this database abstraction layer. But there are some special use cases in which some developers, yeah, maybe not you, maybe you never done that, but some developers have also ability to write direct native SQL in SAP ABAP, and that native SQL layer will bypass and go to direct database. So it will bypass the database extraction layer. Why we do this? Because sometimes we want to use database specific features. Sometimes you want very good performance, because here you see the process of conversion. This process of conversion takes time. Converting OpenSQL to native SQL takes time. It deteriorates performance. So to avoid that, some advanced developers I'm talking about, they will directly write native SQL. Maybe in your last 10 or 20 years of career, you never done this, maybe. And this is actually not a good practice, but in extreme scenarios, we can do this. How do we do this in ABAP? In ABAP, there is a statement called exec SQL. You have never used maybe this statement. Yeah. This is a statement which allows you to write native SQL directly in ABAP program by, and then that bypass the abstraction layer and goes to direct database. Now, if at all some developers in your company have done this, the moment you go to HANA, this syntax is now different in HANA. So it will start dumping. Yeah, it will start dumping. Now you say, Anubhav, I have never done this. I've never done this. I understand you never done this. But can you take guarantee of every developer who have ever worked and ever joined your company and your team who have never done this? You don't know, right? So you have to look at from project perspective, not from the perspective of just your code. Yeah, because your manager is not asking you about your code. Your manager is asking that at a project level, can you tell me at a package level, at a project level, will everything work or not work? That's all your manager is asking. So now the first thing first, the any native SQL statement written in ABAP code will not work, and that's done using exec SQL statement and exec. You can check the documentation in ABAP if you want. So you can just go back to ABAP keyword documentation. Yes. So simply you can just open any program in ABAP. Let me open any program and I will just say exec SQL and I press F1 key on the keyboard. So it will open the documentation. You see here is a documentation of exec SQL and it says this statement define the area program where native SQL statement can be specified. You see native SQL. Now what is native SQL? You click here, it explains what is native SQL. It's a database specific SQL which you write to avoid using database abstraction layer. Yes, this have platform dependent implementations, which means if you're using Oracle, you have to give Oracle wala query, exact Oracle query you have to give to system. Yeah. So this kind of statement, if you're using open cursor, these all statements used in native SQL, then your code will start dumping because HANA is not adapted according to. So this statement was written according to Oracle or MySQL server. In HANA, it will not work. So it will start dumping. Any direct access to pooled or cluster tables will not work because in HANA now this concept is not there. There is no concept of pool and cluster table in HANA. Yes, because we are using column store. Yes, now we don't have this concept of pool and cluster tables at a database level. I'm telling you directly if you were ever accessing these tables. Still at data dictionary level, you can still create pool cluster, but they are managed differently in the HANA database. So direct access to pool cluster table will not work. What else will not work? So if you have provided database specific hints, they will now have no impact. Example, sometimes in the past, I remember one of my project in last 20 year, we used to give specific hints like select query, and then I say star from table, and I say percentage hint, and then I will say prefer join underscore ampersand join 0 or prefer index. We used to give this kind of database hints, very rare use case, but again it may be possible that you've given database specific hints to telling the query, to telling the system go and use this particular join. Yeah, so that will also not work anymore in the system. So if you've done database or accessing certain secondary indexes which are no more exist in HANA, which are excluded for HANA database, that will also not work. What else? It sometimes may produce spurious result, or let me write better English, erroneous result. Yes. Bad result, invalid result. When this will happen? This will happen when we try to read data by binary search, or we do delete adjacent duplicate after data migration. Let me give you an example. Suppose when you were using Oracle in your company, in Oracle, your data was already sorted. So in your company, there was a table where you were storing order ID and order amount. Yes, you were storing this table in Oracle. So you had order ID 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. And you have amount, let's say 200, 200, 350, 490, and 500. Now a database admin, this is our database admin with a cap. He did migration using some tool and data was moved to HANA. Now the data came to HANA. So that is database admin have done this migration. We didn't do. So he did some technique and he migrated our data. But now what happened? The data which is moved to HANA, it's now not sorted. So the record number 1001, it's here, 200. Now came is 1003, 350, 1004, 490, 1002, 200, and 1002, 1005, 500. So you see the data moved and now the data is not sorted. So if you have written a code, delete adjacent duplicate from your table by amount, yes, by amount field, yes, by the amount field, yes, amount field. If you've done that, earlier the data was sorted. So these two records are next to each other. It will work. It will work perfectly. Delete adjacent duplicate. But now data is not sorted. So if you run delete adjacent duplicate, what will happen? Both the records with same value, which you don't want to keep, they will still stays because the sorting got disturbed due to migration. Also, when you do binary search is a search algorithm which always works on sorted data. Yes, sorted data. Why? Because if you sort data, let's say read data where amount is greater than 200 and you do binary search, how it works, it will split your array into two parts. It will split here and then it will check this value. If this value is greater than the value you given, yeah, 200, it will discard the upper set. It will assume that there is no record above which is greater than 200, and it will keep this record. But you see here there is a record which is 200. It will just take everything and give the output. So there is a record 200 which is violating this condition. Yes. So the binary search always works on split compare approach, and the mandatory condition is to sort the data before doing it. So it is a good practice that you should always use sorting before you do these operations in ABAP program. You should even do it today also if you have code like this. So, but it become more relevant after database migration because we don't know, there is no guarantee that the data is sorted in the new HANA or in the database after data migration, because that sorting got disturbed due to migration by the administrator. So these things will give spurious or bad results or invalid results to your reports. So that's the issue which will happen. Now the question comes, I know now the secrets, what will work, what will not work. But most importantly, Anubhav, most importantly, now I know what will work in my company and what will not work in my company. I know that now. So the most important part now is to for me to understand how to guess. So now you know what will work and what not. But in my company, over last 10 year, we had developed 10,000 reports, 5,000 function modules, 8,000 classes, and maybe 3,500 other RISE objects, which includes bodies, interfaces, workflows, handler classes, feeder classes, webbed in pros. Yeah. Will I, shall I go manually to each and every line and check if they violate the violate the above guidelines for DB migration? Question to you: what do you feel, engineers in the class? What do you feel? Please answer in chat window. Will you manually go to every line of code written over last 10 years by hundreds of developers across the board in your company, and will you manually check, all of these guidelines are protected or not? Even you want to, you cannot, you will not have that much time, believe me. Yes, manually you cannot. So what do we do? So SAP provide tools to do that. So we can ensure that our DB migration to HANA will not impact our ABAP code. So what are the tools? The first tool is called SCI, SAP Code Inspector tool. And the second tool is called ATC Checks, ABAP Test Cockpit. These are the two tools. Now you say, Anubhav, these two tools I already know. They are there since many years. I already know, I use them. Yes. What's new then? What's new? What is the new story you are telling me? So guys, the new story here is SAP is providing a dedicated variant to check against these guidelines. And the variant name, it's a certification question, is called functional DB. This is the name of the variant. It's a certification question. If you're planning to take certification on ABAP on HANA, what is the variant you will check to ensure that your ABAP code is not getting affected if your company migrates to HANA? Answer is functional DB. So now I will show you in the live system how do you use these tools and this variant check to ensure, to get a guarantee that it will never ever affect your, you know, your migration to HANA database. And for that, to start the system, and we'll also look at these tools and the comparison, when to use which tool, so you can decide better for your company with a real life practical example. So I have created a program here in our system, and this program I will anyway share with you in study material also, so you can practice this topic live in the system. Every theoretical topic or every topic I cover in the class, will be backed by real-time examples in the live system. So that when you want to learn these things, you not just learn the theory, you also learn, you practically do it yourself in the live system, and then you understand the impact and the control of these concepts. All right, so before we do that, I would want to take a quick break here, and we will join back after a short break to begin our first topic related to the HANA migration. And I'll start here the timer, and we'll join back after a short break. So everyone, please take a break. My line will be muted during this time, and we'll come back after the short break. So let's take a break and come back after the break. All right, welcome back after the break. So before the break, we talked about the process of migration and what will be the question which will be asked to you as a S4 or ABAP or HANA consultant. And of course, we understood what is the impact on the change of database and what is that as a consultant now you need to do. So you need to use this tool, code inspector tool or ATC check tool, to find out all the violations across the board. So you are not just looking at a small single program. You have to look at holistically at a project level, and project is built inside a package. So you can run these analysis against this variant provided by SAP using one of these tools. So I'll show both the tools and their comparison. So first we start with SCI tool. So we go back to the system. And by the way, to prove all these things and learn all these things, I've created a program, a dirty program, which has dirty code. And I will not tell you what is dirty in this code. By the way, I will be sharing this entire program and the material with all of you as part of our training content, our training material. So you can copy this program in your company system if you are using your company system, and then you can practice this topic. And you see, there is some dirty coding I have done. It is not matter what I'm doing here. What matters is there is some dirty coding. That dirty coding is against the guideline of database migration, and we will get to know through the code inspector tool. So I open Control 6 and run code inspector tool. And first I will show you the check variant which is given by SAP. We have not created it. SAP have given. It's called functional DB. I will open this, and you see this variant. Who's the owner? SAP is the owner. So you look at this, what they do, what kind of checks they do here. So you see, checking for any ABAP interface directly going to database, DDIC table, direct use. Yes. Then you see there is this pool cluster table access directly. Yes. Because in HANA there's nothing like that. Not doing, not performing operations related to order by, like you are not sorting the data before doing those things. Yes. Finding ABAP statement patterns which are dirty, which will not work for HANA. So these are the kind of checks which they have added in this. By doing this check, you can rest assured that your code is safe before going to HANA. So because this is something given by SAP, not by me or not by someone individual, SAP is telling that. So we are just following that. So now we come to create an object set. So we create an object set Z Feb functional, or let's say HANA checks, HANA migration checks. Click on create. And now I will enter my objects. So let me just enter my program name. Just keep the program only, rest all remove. And we will put our test program. This is our dirty coding program. Yes, which I will put here. And I will just click on save button. You see, I saved it. Very nice. Our next step is to just create a inspection on this. So let's create an inspection Z Feb HANA checks. We create a HANA check inspection now. So I click on create. I will now provide my object set which I just created in the last step. which contains the list of my program. Now imagine, Anubhav, if I'm doing it for my company, for my entire project, then what do I do? So in that case, it should include your package, complete package of your development package of your team that you need to give here. Because then you're not doing on a program, you're doing on entire package level this check. That's a good way, that's the ideal way. So you will get to know all the problems in one shot in the entire package, all the RISE-F objects you'll get to know. But for demonstration purpose, I created this dirty program which has some dirty coding violating the database migration guidelines. Yeah, that we'll get to know. So that's why. So I create now inspection, I give my object set name, and now I give my variant name. So it's called functional DB variant given by SAP. I save this and now I click on execute. You see it's red right now. I run. It got finished very fast. It did the checks and now have the check result in the log. So you see it has got two findings. Yeah. What are the findings? Let's look at it. These are not syntax error. These are guideline violation. So SAP is telling you here that if you planning to go to HANA database, this program is little suspicious and it may produce spurious result or dumps. So what is happening? Reading binary search without sorting. I told you already, if you do binary search without sorting data, it can produce spurious result. Delete adjacent duplicate again without sorting. You're trying to delete adjacent duplicate. These are the issues it has got. So that is the code inspector tool. You can check it. The another tool which does the same thing, same finding, is just two different technique of doing same thing. ATC tool. So ATC tool is relatively new tool. Yes, it is better than SCI tool. What are the advantages? This is another interview question. Why should you use ATC tool over SCI tool? So first advantage is it works with ABAP development tool on Eclipse. Wow, that's the first advantage. Yes, you don't have to go to GUI at all to use ATC tool. Second, it can store the log. Yes, it can store the log as much as we want. Default setting is 72 days. It stores the log of the results. It is integrated with CTS Plus. What is CTS Plus? Your transport management system in ABAP. So you can actually go back and define that if I have a transport and when a developer release this transport, yeah, and when the developer do the check here, it can do the check what you want also, because ATC check, ATC is integrated with transport. So you can use ATC tool to put this performance or this functional DB check in the ATC checks. So what happens? Anyone who is releasing a transport, this check will also be performed along with the transport automatically. Yeah, that's another advantage. It has integration with ABAP Workbench. So if you use SCAT very often, the ATC also have integration. So you can come here to menu and utility settings and you can choose here ATC result browser. So you can also see the ATC results here. You see, if there are any checks happening, you can see people are doing different checks. So this you can also see them over here actually. Yes. So that is also a good integration it offers. It's a very powerful tool. You can also schedule nightly checks. Yeah. So in the night, it will run the checks on your package automatically. And in the morning, when you come back, you can see the results, or you can ask your developers to, work on the nightly results. It is like a kind of automation where it can do the checks in the night. So you can come to ATC tool. ATC is the transaction code. And here you can schedule, you see, schedule email jobs. Yes, you can define roles, you can say basic settings, and here you can get default checks. So whenever I release the transport, yeah, please do these checks. So you see, check when transport is released. So all these things you can configure in this tool. Yes, usually configured by basis, but you can do that. You can schedule runs, you can create new runs and schedule them over the night, that every day it should run. Let's say this check should run, you know, before day deletion. Yeah. 21 days it will store the logs. 10 processes, it can run multiple processes, which server you want to run. Yes. You can send notifications. Yeah. Send, static notifications. A lot of configurations are there. It's a very powerful tool. So let's do now the same thing. What I did here, same thing with ATC. Yeah. And for that, I will now use ABAP development tool on Eclipse. Now don't get confused. There are so many terms coming slowly. ATC, yeah, and ADT. This is my favorite interview question. Tell me the difference between ATC and ADT. ADT is the ABAP development tool on Eclipse. It's a development tool. ATC is a ABAP test cockpit. It's a code inspection tool. Yeah, that's a difference. Yeah. So don't get confused between ADT and ATC. These are very similar terms, yeah, which might confuse you. Okay, so I come back to the program. By the way, if you are using my training system, Anubhav training system, in Z Anubhav SOH package, I have all my dirty programs, my dirty coding, which I've got here from my old ECC system in S4 HANA. So you can practice these things, but don't touch them. Make a copy of them for your practice. However, I will take the code, dirty code, and I will put this dirty code in a notepad like this. And this dirty code will be shared. This notepad will be shared in our study material. So you all can go to study material and get this code in your company system. Yes. And then you can also replicate the scenario, replicate the same use case for yourself, and you can experience the same thing practically in your company if you are using your company system for practicing this training. So we have everything for you. You have to just put some effort. Okay, so I come back, right click, and I say run ABAP test cockpit with. You see this option, and I put my variant name functional DB. You can browse also, F4 help, you can view also. Direct enter. Okay. So now you see at the bottom it is running ATC checks, and soon we will get the results of ATC checks over here. You see it's just running still, and you can see here, yes, you see same two findings. So it won't change. Finding won't change, guys, because of the tool. Findings are findings. They are findings in the code. The best part I love about ATC check with the ADT tool is if you double click, takes you to the line. You see, it takes me to the line. Yeah. And now the star of the day, it has ability to fix your issue also. You can see there is a small bulb icon on the left. If you click that bulb icon, it shows you a quick fix. Wow. Woohoo! So it can fix the issue for you. So you see, we are doing a binary search, but data is not sorted. So I can go back and I can use one of the suggestion, and what it does, it will automatically make the code change for my code. And you see it has added order by primary key clause next to my select query. Nice. Yeah. Now I go to the second one. I again click the bulb icon one time. It give me suggestions, and I just choose, let's say, second option. And you see it has added a sort internal table statement for me to fix this problem. I save it, put it in a transport, activate my code, and now recheck my findings. So right click again, recheck, and let's see, it's rechecking now my functional DB checks in my program, and you will see the results in few seconds, and you see all the findings are gone. So you did the clean sweep. You have done the cleaning of your code. It's all thanks to ATC checks and quick fix feature of ADT tool. So as a developer, it helps you to quickly fix all the issues which are found by the tool with the recommendation. It's kind of a recommendation engine. You can decide which recommendation. Sometime it may not have quick fix, yeah, but sometime it may give you quick fix if it knows what to do. So now we cleaned up our code. Yes, and this program is now safe. You are confident that when this program goes when your database change to HANA, this program is not going to give the bad result, spurious result, or it's not going to cause any dump. And this exercise you can repeat at all the objects in your package. Is the process clear? Hello? Any question on this topic of functional DB check for HANA migration? For HANA migration.
Hi, Anubhav.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, this ATC has to be run only during the migration, or we can also run
Good
like,
question. Very good question. So when should we do these checks, Anubhav? Should we do it after we go to HANA? Should we do it before we go to HANA? Or should we do it during the process? So the best practice is before you go to HANA. Yes. Before your company starts this migration to HANA, you should do all the ATC checks on functional DB, and you should fix all the things so that when you go to HANA database, things will work smoothly. So this is about the answer of your question. Before the migration starts, you should do this. And for this, there will be usually a project plan. You will be certainly invited for meetings by your manager or scrum lead where they do the project planning. And during the project planning, you can say, okay, I will be involved and I will do this work. First, you can also already take the findings with you and you can share it with the managers in the meeting that these many findings we found, and as an estimation it will take us about 2 weeks to fix all the things as a team. It's not your job to fix everything, it's a teamwork, but you as a single developer can find at least what are the things which might not work. So that is what we should ideally do. Next question.
Hey, Anubhav, quickly. So
So,
this edited tool, when you said do it before the HANA check, uh, but the system will be ECC will be on a lower level, right? Oracle. So is the
In ECC,
ADT?
this will be, this variant is available in ECC system. The
Okay,
functional DB variant, which I was telling you, it was pushed down to the lower releases. Even it is available on NetWeaver 7.2 release, the support pack 12.
uh, and the ATC tool is also available, or that's a part of a HANA
Yeah,
Studio?
ADD tool, ATC check tool is already there since many, many years. It's not a new tool.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, Hello, Anubhav. If we are working under a team, obviously the entire approach or on the planning will be handled by manager, and part of the work will be handled to the individual, right? So how
Yes.
we will be able to know the master plan? Like, will SAP be supporting us in this migration with all the steps and details? How it will be?
So usually in our company, we have different levels. Different people have different jobs in a team. So in your team, there will be a planning manager or scrum lead. Their duty is to do the planning, that what will be the phase of start of migration, end of migration. Yes, usually you heard, bro, I cannot come this weekend party because I have a go live, right? What is that? There is a migration going on, there is some kind of upgrade going on, and developers are involved into that. And the entire planning is done by scrum master, who's the lead. Or usually there is a manager, there is a manager for the system who will do this planning, and then the work will be distributed. So in a team, typically you have scrum lead, a solution architect, a junior associate architect, junior architect, and then you have principal developer, senior developer, junior developer, trainees, testers, QA, QPS lead, yes, quality experts, functional users. This is how a team is constructed. So whenever there is an activity like this, it is actually well informed over the mail or over the meetings to the team member. So that is something your planning manager, project planning manager will let you know that we are doing this, and anyway the work will come to you, you will get to know. Okay. Having said that,
And one more
yeah,
question I have, Anubhav, like
yeah,
even after going live with HANA, right? Suppose our team they did HANA migration.
uh-huh.
So after that, like if developers like they use this ATC tool for suppose if they are developing a program. So if they want to check any errors or something, right? I mean, still they may use a regular ABAP, right? Like
Yes,
classic ABAP,
as a
right?
best practice, you
So
can always use this tool even after migration. No problem.
okay. And you said the package level, right? So the package may contain the database objects like tables,
It
structures,
will ignore them.
indexes also, right?
It will
Uh,
only scan the code. It will ignore rest all the
only
things.
scan the code. Okay. So do we run SPDD, SPAU I mean in this migration or
Yes, that
only
is used usually
this?
to find unused code. Yes, that will be used to
So
find unused code. So that is not part of our training, but I'll give you a good documentation for that. You can read and utilize that.
okay, Anubhav, thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, Anubhav. One
Hi.
quick question. Hey, so we actually, recently migrated to HANA database, and we performed the ATCs and we use the SCI tool as well to figure out, okay, where the code needs to be, changed or added, like the starting statement or all those kind of things. The only thing is there are few of the errors where the ATC check shows that okay, you need to add some sorting statements or order by clauses. But even after adding those kind of statements, we're not able to get rid of the functional DB checks. The errors are still showing up. So I'm not sure whether we'll be covering those kind of things ahead
So in
or
those case, even after you edit that, maybe point one
right.
is, are these genuine errors or are these tool issues? Yeah. If it's a tool issue, you can report it to SAP that your tool is not working as per the expectation. And if you're very
Okay.
confident and you just want to get rid of these errors so that it will not come in the finding and allow you to release transport, you can also use
Mm.
exception codes. So you can use double colon EC underscore. There are exception code. Let me show you once again.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you're
those
talking about
exception
the
codes you
super
can add
code,
it
right?
at the end of the statement, and then the system will allow you to still release your transport. So that's a last resort, and this is typically done by architects. You have to take architect level approval to add those
Okay.
exception codes. So what I do is, let me just show you how to add exception code. That's a last choice where this is due to understood. Okay, it's like an agreement between you and me. Yeah. So we mutually understand that it's kind of a tool issue, and the system itself is not consistent enough to identify those issues are resolved. So in those situations, you can certainly go back and add the exception. Usually we have exception code EC underscore something. So you can press F1 here, and system will show you all the available exception codes in ABAP. Yeah, there are many of them. Maybe in my next example, I will show you how can you do that.
Okay.
All right. So now let's talk about the C. So if you're going B to C or A to C, first of all, you need to understand what is C, right? Because it's not as easy as just a database change. Yeah. So let's understand what is C. Before we understand B to C or A to C, you need to have thorough understanding of what is C meaning for our company or for anyone. Now, let me give you a brief introduction of what is S4HANA at technical level. You might have seen many definitions of S4HANA at a high level. Yes. But let's understand what is S4HANA. So S stands for simplification. Now the question comes, what has been simplified? So mainly SAP removed many database tables when they redesigned this new ERP. So it's like a completely brand new car of a car company. Suppose Maruti comes with a completely new brand new model of a car. Every year, many companies they launch new car models, right? So it's like that. So SAP have removed many database tables permanently, secondary indexes permanently, aggregate tables permanently. They have also took this opportunity as they were freely able to change all the data elements, domains, everything. They also took this opportunity to change data elements and domains. So you know that changing a data element or domain is a very risky thing, because in your production, if the table is already there, it can cause a risk of eliminating the data. So SAP have also now, since they were going on S4, they also changed many data elements domain in a way by extending them, not reducing the size, increasing the size. So basically it's a big change in the entire data model of ERP. It's a very big change. Then next is it's a fourth generation ERP with latest concepts related to new frameworks, new approaches, Fiori first approach and stuff like that, integration with machine learning, IoT, all the latest stuff which you hear, all the concepts which you hear these days is what been introduced. Now another thing in S4 is the flavor of S4. SAP come up with two flavors of S4 HANA. For large corporations, large companies, yes, like Nestle, BMW, ONGC, Reliance, Shell, BP, HPCL, IOCL, Colgate, yes, all these big brands, those who are using SAP ECC ERP or Business Suite ERP, for them they introduced S4 HANA on premise. This is the on premise system, which is typical ERP where you have to buy hardware, manage hardware yourself, manage security, networking, operating system, have an in-house basis team to download and install DVDs and manage license and get into a 20-year or 10-year license contract and pay the license lump sum license fees upfront to SAP. This kind of a solution is highly configurable, highly configurable. You can do whatever you want to do, man. You have a SAP GUI access plus SPRO access. It is highly customizable and configurable solution catering to all the needs of your company. That's a first flavor. If your company is going to SAP S4 HANA on-premise, the migration process includes a strategy called SAP Activate. Strategy is what companies are using if they are migrating. Yeah. By the way, it's not called migration. It's called conversion. Okay. Very important point. If somebody is saying we are migrating to S4, they don't know anything about S4 HANA. It means it's not called migration. It's called conversion. You're converging the system. So B2C or A2C is called conversion because you're changing the entire solution. Yes, it's not called migration. Migration is just about you have ECC to ECC. That's migration, just changing database. But this is a conversion. You're converging the system. Yeah. So it's called system conversion. And to do the system conversion, the methodology used in industry is called SAP Activate methodology. It has different phases like explore phase. Yes. Then we have the prepare phase. We have deploy phase, test phase. Yes, and run phase. These are phases of SAP Activate. Again, not relevant for us because we are not implementation consultants. We are ABAP consultants, we are technical consultants, but just you need to know broad overview. So big corporations, big companies, they need highly configurable ERP. They will go with S4 HANA on premise. On the other side, they have S4 HANA Cloud. It is also for big and small and medium scale corporations. So large can also go, and SMEs, small and medium scale enterprise companies, In the past, SAP used to have a product called SAP ByD, Business by Design. That is kind of becoming relevant, and SAP is selling S4HANA nowadays. Now, if you want to go to this one, this is not highly configurable. You will not get SAP GUI or SPRO access. Your company don't need to have buy hardware. Your company don't need to hire basis consultants. Your company don't need to invest on hardware, networking, hard disks, servers, buy a 20 or 30-year license fees. No, nothing. You go with cloud. This is not highly configurable. It's more of a standard packaging software like Gmail. You can't customize Gmail to a very large extent. What you can do in Outlook. So you will get access to all the applications through the browser, only through the browser, and you can utilize the cloud SAP, and the entire infrastructure is owned by SAP, managed by SAP. This solution is not highly configurable. Still, there are minor configurations you can do using an application called Manage Your Cloud Solution in this app. And the methodology which we use to migrate to S4 Cloud, our ERP in the cloud, is called SAP RISE. RISE with SAP, if you heard about. That's the methodology used in industry to go to cloud. So if your company is planning a complete cloud-based implementation of ERP, they will go with RISE. They will choose RISE with SAP, where SAP will give the guidance about how can you make your business processes run in the cloud permanently. Yes. So these are the methodology and options SAP have provided to make your conversion possible from classic ERP to this. In my opinion, as of now, around 75 to 80% customers are choosing this. Yes, choosing this. And only 15 to 20, again, it's a conservative number. Yes, in my opinion, it is still less than that going with this. Yeah, it's a conservative number. I'm telling, in my opinion, it is above 85 to 90, over 92%, because they want still the SPRO, SAP GUI in highly configurable system. Yes. So now in this option, they have this option called private cloud or public cloud. Private cloud means your company buy the infrastructure from Amazon or Azure, and there they deploy the S4 cloud. That's called private cloud. Public cloud means SAP is having their own infrastructure in which they are hosting the data. So basically, some company go private cloud because they want more security. They want to manage their cloud infrastructure themselves. So then they buy their own Amazon machines, and in that SAP deploy the S4 cloud. That's called private cloud. So that comes under this actually. Now, this is the flavors of S4HANA. Now, if you talk about this one, this is our main cup of tea because that's where the maximum number of jobs and opportunities are there in market right now. Yes. So as a ABAP on HANA consultant, you will actually go here. Yeah. Now in this case, what happens? No, in private cloud, the SPRO access still not available. No, you cannot. Okay. Now coming back, there are two kind of implementation which happens. One is called brownfield implementation, and another is called greenfield implementation. Now, what is brownfield and what is greenfield? Let me tell you a story of a farmer. So we have Martin, who is a farmer. He's a very big farmer, and he is having farming experience of, let's say, 35 years. He is a owner of big farmhouses, very big acres and acres of land he owns, and he does farming every year with digital technology on that. He decided to sell some of his land to buy some machinery and personal expenses. Now we have Marcus, who is going to buy his land. Now Marcus sees that already Martin have done some crops last year on his land. Yes. Now if Marcus has to start his own crop this new season, then he has to clean up first everything, see what he can reuse from what is available. Maybe on this farm there is already a water connection, electricity connection, some tractor is also there. He want to reuse, and then he want to do new crop on top of it. So in this case there is already some farming done. So the field is called brown field. Brown field means there was already some farming done in the past, and on top of that you want to now start a new farming. So there is already something, and on top you want to do new stuff. Yeah. This is called brown field. Now take an example of ERP. If you take example of ERP, in your company you already had ECC. In this ECC you had already built millions of lines of ABAP code. You have built BAPIs, bodies, workflows, scripts, smart forms, yes, user exits, custom transaction codes, classes, RICEFs. Yeah, you've done that. This is your, let's say, $20 million investment done. So this is already a code. So when you go to S4HANA, will you throw away everything? Of course not. You want to reuse. But since already there were changes in the database layer heavily, this code may not be exactly reusable as it is. So you need to hire developers like Anubhav and like my participants who will help him to go to S4 by migrating his code also. That's brownfield implementation. Over 90% implementation to S4 on-premise are brownfield. Then there is greenfield. You already understood greenfield already, some of you. What is greenfield? Greenfield is some part of the land where there is no crop. It's fresh. Never farming done ever. So what he can do? He can directly start farming on this. So if it's brownfield, you have to clean, reuse, and then do. If it is greenfield, it's a fresh. Cases where a company never ever have ERP. Never have a ERP. Even though if they had, they want to throw it away. They don't want to reuse anything. That is your greenfield implementation. Yes. So this is clear. So I would say greenfield where you have nothing in the past. Brownfield, there's something called bluefield. Bluefield is a hybrid approach where some part you want to keep in the on-premise and some part you want to go in the cloud. It's called hybrid approach. But that's not important for us. That's extreme use case. Now coming back, in brownfield there was already ABAP code. Some ABAP code could be any form. Yes, the ERP, old ERP has data which we need to bring in S4HANA. All the old ERP customizations need to be moved. We need to adapt the custom code also when we go to S4HANA because of simplification. This is called conversion of system. In case of greenfield implementation, there was no ABAP code. We had ERP or not had ERP, but it's irrelevant. Customer want to start fresh with S4HANA. First time. Like I know one company, it's a polymer manufacturing company in Daman in Mumbai, India. I've been there for their implementation help, and I saw that they were not having any ERP in the past. First time in the history of their lifetime, as the company is growing, they were listed in the stock market also. They started using SAP S4 HANA solution for their day-to-day operations. It's a fresh implementation for them. Many fresh new customers are coming in and they're buying and adopting SAP's S4 HANA solution. So it's a greenfield implementation, no tension. Yeah, customer will first time experience the SAP itself. So that's a greenfield implementation. It's easy and no migration effort or no conversion effort. This type of projects are very less. Majority of the projects are brownfield with S4 HANA on-premise. That is the majority of the projects in the company. Now let's understand quickly more about S4. So as I mentioned, SAP S4 HANA, this is the generation of ERP. In 2015, SAP introduced SAP S4 HANA, where S stands for simplification, 4 stands for fourth generation ERP solution. It's a successor of R3 architecture, or in fact R3 or ECC based system, and it's all purely based on HANA database. When you say S simplified, what has been simplified? So you can see typically how the simplification happened over time. The traditional SAP ERP need 593 GB data to run a traditional ERP on a hard disk. When SAP HANA came into picture with the compression and deletion of secondary database, they've got the same data running on a RAM of size 118 GB with just implementation of HANA. But with S4 HANA, they have deleted many unnecessary tables and modified the entire SAP database. And then they've got the entire ERP running on almost 42.4 GB. So it deleted many tables from SAP permanently, removed secondary indexes permanently. In S4 HANA, the memory footprint have significantly come down with a memory size of 42.4. In addition, you can do data aging. Data aging is a concept where the data which you do not use often, you can move that in the hard disk, not keep in the RAM. Data aging is not data archiving. It's different. Here you just keep all the important data in the RAM and rest all data you move to hard disk. So your cost can come down. Still, if you need data, data can be loaded with little bit throughput time in the RAM. So RAM is called hot store and hard disk is called cold store. And system can do this. It's a separate topic. It's a separate 40-hour training. There are dedicated data aging experts in a company hired. I'm not an expert on this area. Just a concept that hot store and cold store, where the old data is moved to hard disk, not kept in the RAM. So this is the simplification which has happened. Now, this is the database simplification I was telling you. In the business suite, we have these many tables like VBAC, LIKP, VBAC, VBUK, LIPS, VBFA. Many tables were there in SD, inventory management, material management, and finance. So what SAP have done, they have revamped the data model. So now you see only in SD these many tables left over. They've deleted rest of the tables. For material, they have modified many tables. You see some of the modifications, some of the deletion of columns, some of the tables permanently deleted. New tables were introduced, which are, optimized, and they have a central table called Mad Dog table, which you can use as a column store table, which is a superimposition on existing tables through which you can consume all the materials data at one single place. Mad Dog table, central material master table. Rather than hitting Mara, Marci, Mardi separately, all the data is available here. It's more of a column store table which you can hit to get all the access of all the columns. And likewise, in the or finance area, now we have a centralized ledger accounting database table called ECDOCA in finance. These are the data model changes which has happened. You can see in S4HANA, they have simplified the data model. They've deleted some tables. They've removed some columns from existing tables. You do not need to go and read every aspect of it or remember every aspect of it because the changes are huge. Changes are huge. So Anubhav, the question is, since there were many code changes which has happened, yes, how do I know these changes as a developer, as a technical consultant? So guys, you will know these changes by bringing SAP have located or noted down all these changes for you. So you don't have to remember everything, and nobody can do that also. If you ask me, as a human, you cannot remember all the changes because it's all done by SAP. Now, the thing is, how do I check if my table, my program, or my object or function module, which I was using earlier in standard from standard, is it affected or not? How do I know that? So for that, SAP is providing something called simplification database. It's called simplification database. The transaction code is SMICM. So you go to SMICM. Yes, SMICM. Sorry, I'm so sorry, not ICM. It's called SIMDB. I forgot the transaction code. It's called SYCM. Yes, SYCM. Simplification database. SYCM is the T code. Yes, simplification database. So SAP, when they change many things, when they simplified their ERP, they brought completely new product S4 HANA. They have noted down all the changes here in simplification database. Yeah. Now, if I run this in our training system, there is nothing. Huh? How come? How come? So guys, in every S4 HANA system, you can check this transaction code SYCM, which contains the information about what was changed by SAP. It's called simplification database, which contains all the list of changes done to the data model as compared to ERP. In a fresh system, ours is a fresh system, you will not find any entry. So what do you do? To get the entry in this, you have to upload them. Where do you upload them? You have to go to SAP Service Marketplace and you have to search this CCM SIDB. Yeah, you have to search this CCM SIDB. So you have to go to SAP Service Marketplace link. Yes, so you need to go to internet and search for SAP Service Marketplace here, and you go to software download, access software download for me. And wait, I need to pause my screen over here, guys, because I need to now log in with my S user ID. Just hold on for a second. I'm just trying to get access and log in to my S user ID. Okay, I logged in now with my S user ID, and here I will search for that option called CCM SIDB. So let's go to here, CCM SIDB. I search. It's called simplification database content. You see, here it is. I found ya. Yeah, I found ya. So I can click on that and I can download this zip file. So I just say click download. It will now download this simplification database content. It's a content actually. Yes. So this is the content which I will download in my system. You see here, there are multiple versions also. So we just download this content in our laptop. Now I'm doing it. You don't have to do it, guys. Just hold on for a second. Let me do that. Just give me 1 second. I paused my screen because I'm dealing with sensitive data here. And I will download now that content. I restarted sharing my screen and it's just submitting request to kind of download that data. Because it's a fresh system, and in this fresh system you will not have anything. And you see it downloaded the zip file. Yeah, it got you the zip file. Now what you need to do, you need to go back again to the transaction code SYCM, and you need to go here and say simplification item, import zip file. And now I have to give the link of the zip file. This is the one. Open, allow, and now it is importing all the content. It's a one-time job. In a fresh system, your company has to do, your basis team has to do. If your basis team is still a dumb guy, then you can actually take the S user ID and you can do this work. yourself, as I showed you the process. Usually basis team, they don't support this kind of request because of sometime maybe lack of knowledge. They don't understand, or they don't want, or they are super busy or pretend to be busy. So you can do this work yourself, as I showed you the process. You need a user ID of your company, yes, to do so. So I got you, and now you see it's just importing everything. It'll take few seconds, and then you will get the content in this database. So simplification database is where you will get all the document of all the changes which SAP have done as compared to their ECC solution in S4HANA, to bring in S4HANA live in action. Now, important, this transaction code is not available in ECC. It's only available in S4HANA. So when your company start S4HANA, that time you have to check it. Yeah. So it has uploaded. And now if I go back and F8, you will see here, yes, you will see here now the content. So you see it's just running, it's taking time, it's okay, because there are so many simplification items. This database has got you now. Yeah. So just hold on for a minute. Let it bring in all the information for us. Yes. It's just
Hey,
booting up.
quickly, so
Yeah.
quick question. So are there implementation where ECC is considered as legacy and then S4 is HANA is green, meaning
Sorry,
people
I didn't get your question, sir.
are people transferring data from ECC to S4 HANA as a green implementation, treating ECC as a legacy?
Yes, they will transfer the data for sure. And for that, they will use SAP Activate methodology. Yes, to do that database transfer of data from old data model to new data model. But again, that is not our cup of tea. We are developers. We are not database administrator. Yes. So there is a data migration tool also available in SAP S4HANA, which help a systematic data migration from your ECC to S4HANA according to new data model. You can just search here, migrate ECC data to S4HANA DB. And you can actually see the the transition approach of how do you comprehensive guide for migrating your data. What is the process of migrating the data? You see here there is different options, and how do you migrate the data. So these are actually done by basis team, not by us. Yeah. Now we are still going to do this particular part, which I'll explain you. Yes. So again, data migration is not my job. I'm a web developer. I will deal with the code, not with data. Yes, that will be done by them. But look at this, all the changes over here. Yes. Now I am curious if there is a change in, let's say, one of my data element called maintainer. So what I do, I go here and I put my object name maintainer, F8. I got to know. Yes, there is a field length extension of maintainer data element or domain. Yeah, they've done that. So what you do is you got the simplification database. You are skeptical about your object. Is there any change in VBAC table? These are the changes in VBAC table. Yes. How many of them are compatible or not compatible? That also I'll explain you. But look at this. There are many changes in the VBAC table. It is highlighting. You see table VBAC, table VBAC. All these changes related to VBAC. And every item here, this is called simplification item. So what is a simplification database? If interviewer asks you, a simplification database transaction SYCM will let us know as a consultant what are the changes done by SAP when they built S4HANA as compared to ECC. What are the data model changes they've done in order to bring and implement S4HANA? The simplification database contain simplification items. These are simplification items. Each simplification item corresponds to a note. You see SAP note number. Now when you click on this note number, it will launch that note and it will explain you everything about the change. What was changed? Yes, there are around 11 lakh changes. Yes guys, 1.1 million changes are there. Yes, so you can actually go and read them. It's impossible for human to remember everything, but this is the process. How I get to know. How I get to know. So I get to know what was changed. What was changed. So you can read through that change easily. Yes. So this is how, as a consultant, you will tell your manager or yourself what was changed. It is impossible for you to remember everything. You cannot. Nobody can do that. No human can do that. But you need to know the process to identify, has your object undergone through change or not. But the most important or the $1 billion question after you get this is, since there are huge changes, what about my custom code? Because SAP have changed data elements, domains, they've removed tables, they've added new tables, they've merged the tables, they've removed indexes. That will certainly have impact on my custom code built in my company over years. So this is the bullseye. This is the question which your manager will ask you, that S/4HANA is not a migration, it's a conversion. There are radical number of changes which has potential to disrupt your ABAP code. How do you manage to run your existing ABAP code which is moved from ECC to S4? Will it work or not? Is my custom code valid? An answer is certainly there is a catch. And that catch I will explain you in the next episode. We will learn about what's the catch, how do you identify which are the programs, which are the ABAP lines of code, your code, ABAP code will get affected due to this conversion, and how do you help your company to make your move to S/4HANA as a ABAP consultant. Remember, it's a teamwork. Database administrators, database consultants, they will be responsible for data migration. You are a ABAP consultant. Your responsibility is to adapt custom code. If your manager go to database consultant and ask them, can you fix ABAP code in S4? They will not. That's not their cup of tea. If your manager asks you, can you migrate data? No, you cannot, because you are not database expert. You are not database migration consultant. So each consultant have their own responsibility and job. Our job and responsibility is to adapt custom code when company go to S4. I hope it's clear. In the next episode, we are going to proceed further with practical example, and I'm going to guide you with the process of how do you migrate your custom code to S4. Questions, Shrikant?
Yeah, hi Anubhav. Actually, sorry to trouble you for since last 2 to 3 days regarding the session recording. So if no one has a question, then I can share my screen, else the other people can take their questions.
I guess no one have questions because we didn't do practical for the custom code adaptation. You can proceed.
So shall I share my screen, Anubhav?
Yeah, let me stop the recording. Yes. Share your screen. So she is saying she created an ABAP project in Eclipse, but she's unable to view that. That's an interesting topic. Yeah. Okay. So now you can
You're
see
seeing, right?
you are not in ABAP perspective, ma'am. Can you see on the top right?
Yeah, I mean,
So you have to go to ABAP perspective. Yeah. Open
Last one.
perspective.
I did that. I did that, Anubhav, like,
That's good, ma'am.
ABAP perspective.
Please go there. And now press Control M.
Mhm.
Control M.
Control M.
Not working. Okay. Go to window.
Not working. Okay.
Perspective, and choose reset perspective dot 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 and click on reset perspective. Yes, ma'am. Congratulations. You are back in line. Now you can expand your project. On the left, there is an expand button, and you've got the local objects. You can log in with your mob user ID.
Okay.
Don't share your password with anyone. If you have stored your password somewhere,
Yeah.
the screen is visible to everybody. People can reuse your user because it's a public cloud system.
I have a question.
And now you should be able to see the local object will open and you should be able to code, ma'am, the way I'm doing. Yes, there you go. There you go. Yes.
I have one more question. So each time we connect to the above project, it will create a new name because, like, I try to create above
Just an
project,
entry,
like,
ma'am.
2
It's
or
just a connection.
3.
It's just a connection. Since you use the same user twice with the same system, it has created 2 entries. You can delete the second entry, no problem. It will not crash our server. It's just an entry in your tool to connect to our system.
So even in real time, like, when we try to launch Eclipse, we try to log in into system, right? ABAP system, right? So
Yes,
that
ma'am.
time also it will create every time new entry.
Yes, ma'am. If you are connecting with multiple systems like development, quality, production, or different clients, or you're using sometime, because I use very often as an architect, I use developers user. So within the same system, I have 3 developers. They come to me for, consultancy, and I use their user ID. In a team, usually we share user ID and passwords, right? With the other. So every time you are using a different user, different client, or different landscape, it will create an entry here. You can delete this entry, extra entry, which is there for now, and you can use the first one, which is already there. All right, guys. Thank you so much once again for your time.
Okay.
Have a nice day and goodbye.
Anubhav,
Yes, sir.
last question, please.
Go ahead.
Can I ask?
Go ahead, sir.
I'm able to do everything. Whatever I am doing with the it is and how to do different for my academy.
Sir, your voice is breaking so much.
Me out.
So